Hey, chào thầy và các bạn. Thì hôm nay nhóm một sẽ trình bày về Cross-site Request Forgery. Đây là một cái lỗ hổng khá là phổ biến trong thời gian trước. Thì nhóm có bốn bạn Hoàng Hiếu, Phú Quý, Văn Hoàng, Gia Huy. Thì Hiếu và Quý đã chuẩn bị phần lý thuyết và bạn Hoàng và Huy đã làm một cái demo. Thì phần trình bày sẽ trong tiếng Anh. Xin mời bạn Hiếu.
It's about cross-site request forgery, yes, which is a CSRF. So first of all, let's go to the table of contents. So we have 6 main contents here. The first one is the history of CSRF. The second is what is CSRF. The third is the core ideas of CSRF. The fourth is how it works. Fifth will be the conditioning so that it can occur. And sixth is the prevention techniques to protect the application from CSRF. So first of all, let's talk about the history of CSRF. CSRF is a problem that happens way before in the 2000 years. So we have the main 4 examples here about big companies also got this problem, also got hacked by CSRF. The first company is the Netflix. The Netflix website in 2006 had numerous vulnerabilities to CSRF, which could have allowed an attacker to perform actions such as adding a DVD to the victim's rental queue, changing the shipping address on the account, or altering the victim's login credentials to fully compromise the account. The next one is more severe, is an online banking web application, is ING Direct, was vulnerable to a CSRF attack that allowed illicit money transfers, which is a really big problem back in the day. Imagine losing your money by using a web application, which will become a really big problem in financial. The third example is that the popular video website YouTube was also vulnerable to CSRF in 2008, and this allowed any attacker to perform nearly all actions of any user. Now, YouTube is a website for video, right? So at first glance, it doesn't. It's hard to see how much effect this can be. But for example, if a user like having 100 accounts and using those accounts to boost the video up, boost a fake video, a video that talk about that can give people viruses. And if a normal user looking at the video having a really high likes and a lot of good views, they will think that the video is legit. And that will make the scammer easier to scam people or hack people by just having a video that has a lot of views, have a lot of likes, and maybe have a lot of great comments. An example will be McAfee Secure, but also vulnerable to CSRF, and it allowed attackers to change the company's system, which costs a lot of money to a lot of company. So that is the history of CSRF, which shows us that this exploit is really damaging the companies and websites application back in the day. So what is CSRF? CSRF names is cross-site request forgery, and it's just a web security vulnerability that forces a user browser to perform unwanted action on a trusted website where they are authenticated. How they do that though? Well, it exploited the trust the website has in a user browser by leveraging automatically attached section cookies. And as a result, CSRF attacks can lead to unauthorized action, such as fund transfer, password changes, or account modification. Now, it seems a little bit unclear. We're going to talk about the core idea of CSRF. Now, the first idea that the browser auto-send authentication cookies to trusted domains. So when you log into any platform, back in the day, maybe even now, that the website will actually contain your access token, right? The token that let you use your account in the website will be stored in a cookie section, in a cookie. So when you send a request to the server, the cookie will automatically attach to the request. So by doing that, the hacker has a harder time to get the token in the client side of the main website. But it also poses a threat that if you're on a different website sending the request to the backend, it will still attach the cookie when it should not. And these attackers exploit the user-server trust relationship, where the server getting the request, also the cookie. But it doesn't know that if the cookie is really from the user or from a scammer. So the server cannot verify if the request is user intentional or attacker triggered. Now, I'm going to give you a workflow of how CSRF works. First of all, a user will log in to their normal website. Maybe it can be a YouTube website or maybe a banking website. The website then will store the user cookie in the cookie section. And when you maybe go to the scam website, this can happen where a scammer gives you a link or your friends getting hacked giving you the link. When you get to that link, you will see that the website is completely the same as the main website, the real website. So you will be tricked because you will think that, oh, this is the real website, and you won't think it's a scam. So when you use that website and maybe you do some action, the request being sent with the cookie section of the real website. So basically, you use on the scam website, but the actual request going to the server is from the real website with the cookie of the real website. So with that, you will get hacked. At this point, the server of the real website don't know the fake request because the fake request has the cookie section. So at that point, server just don't understand and just process it because it has the access token. So basically, the user, the request is authorized. And as a result, the user can lose money or data, etc. It can lose the account or everything. So talking about the condition for CSRF to occur. So if you want the CSRF to occur, you need to have a lot of things happen at the same time, which is the main 5 factors here. The first one is the application uses cookie-based or auto-attach authentication. Because CSRF picked the server by attaching the token, and the token, the hacker cannot really attach a token by themselves, so only by the browser. So if the application use cookie-based or auto-attach authentication, it will work. Also, the user has to be logged in at the same time of the attack. If the user is not logged in, there will be no cookie, there will be no authentication token. So there will be nothing to attach to the request for it to work. Also, the server exposes state-changing actions, maybe like post, delete, without additional validation. The reason why is that if there is a post and a delete action, so the server exposes state-changing action without additional validation, like post and delete. If it doesn't have like an input to kind of check for an ESRF token, it will go pass through because it has the auto-attach authentication already, and it will process the request. And also, the attacker has to trick the victim into visiting a malicious link or page. This is important. This is relevant to the user side. When the user being tricked by an attacker or a scammer to visit a malicious link or website, that website can look exactly identical to the real one. So it's really hard for user to know if they are being tricked or not. And the 5th one is the cookie are sent cross-site. If the cookie nowadays are sitting set to the same site, CSRF won't work. But back in the day, cookies can be sent cross-site, which create opportunities for hackers to use CSRF vulnerabilities. Now, we're going to talk about CSRF prevention techniques, and I will kind of go back and forth the fifth topic and the 6th one, because I want to make it connected together. So the first one, we need to use CSRF tokens. So what is a CSRF token? It's basically a token that the server generates for the client, so that when it put in the post request and delete request, the request will need to have the CSRF token as well. Without it, the server won't accept the request. And of course, the scam website, the fake website, won't be able to have the CSRF token because this is only provided for the client. We also have to apply same site cookies. This is basically, if it's on the same site, it won't be able to If it's different sites, right, it won't be able to send the cookies attached to the request. So basically, it's going to delete this condition here. Cookies are sent cross-site. The next one is check origin referral headers. So basically, you need to check the origin of the request. If the origin is from another website, we can block it right away. We only accept origin where our main front end can be. And we, of course, avoid using get for state changing actions. Why? Because if we use get for state changing action, we cannot use CSRF tokens, right? So basically, when we use post and delete, we can put the CSRF token in. But if we're using get, the token will appear in the URL, which is exploit for the hacker to check it. We also need to use double submit cookies or sign nonces in SPA single page application framework. So, for example, when we have sign nonsense, which is a digital key that's sent from the server to the front end. Without it, the server won't actually accept the request. So the fake website won't be able to get it. And we also need to have clear separation of FE and backend responsibilities. So basically, back in the day, when we only have monolith application, where we have backend and front end at the same repo, it makes it really easy for the CSRF to happen. But nowadays, when FE and backend is already separated, it makes it easier for us to block the CRF exploitation. So that is all about the presentation. But let's go into the demo of our application.
Hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to demonstrate a cross-site request, forgery attacks, and how to defend against them. This is a real security vulnerability that affects a million of websites. So, how it works? Let me show you a setup. We have a legitimate bank run on the localhost 3000, and we have an attacker server run on a different port. And when you log into the bank, and the attacker tries to make you transfer the money, so the browser automatically includes your session cookies, so the bank thinks that is really you. So let's get into the demo. First, I want to choose the, I don't want to set up the security mode. And when I receive a notification that I want a price, and when I click on the button, you can see it's directly call an API from the attacker to the bank server. And the money is lost about $100. And let's talk about the defense. The first, we use the CSRF token. So when you first log in, every form change, the data must include this token. So the attacker doesn't know your token, so they cannot call the request. So let's click the button again, and you can see here, because they don't have the token, so they can call directly to our server. And let's try another method like same size cookie, although two sides are localhost, but I have already set up in my laptop that this is a different side. So you can see here, I already choose the same size cookie method, right? And again, I click on the button, and you can see here, the cross-site request blocked by the same side policies, because it's the different side, so it cannot call the request directly. And another method to defend our website is origin and referral checks. So the first defense check your request origin. So the server look at where the request is come from. And if it's from a different website, so the attacker will fail with an unknown origin. So for example, I log in again, and when I click on the button, and you can see the error is the origin and referrer is mismatched. And the last method is really popular nowadays is JSON Web Token. So instead you using the cookies, you use the token in the authorization header. So this header cannot be automatically sensed by a malicious site. So when I switch to the JWT mode, and when I click on the button, so as you can see, the errors is unauthorized because the attacker doesn't have the header token. It means the JSON Web Token, so they cannot call directly to our server. So this is our demo about the CFIS token.
Okay, so I would like to explain. So I would like to explain about the behind the scene. So we have an attack server and a client server. As we can see, this is the very attractive button we see earlier. Click me, claim price. You see that the link is completely normal and it's actually the link of the legit bank website. But hidden inside that we have the parameter. We set that the receiver to the attacker, and we set the amount of money to be very big, maybe just 1,000 or the user money. So that is the end of our group's presentation. Thank you for listening.